Good morning. This is John Pell with Senior Enrollment Solutions. You are tuned into week number 11 of our 22-week training webinar platform, Roadmap to Success. It is June 24th. Today, we're going to be discussing utilizing carrier technology, increasing your efficiency, increasing your compliance, and initiating those VVE or HRA calls. And we'll go through all that here in a moment as well. I see a lot of individuals are logging in. We have a tremendous amount to cover this morning in regards to preparing for annual enrollment period and ending 22 on a better note or a higher note in regards to your current production. So once again, good morning to all of you. We have an hour scheduled. I will try and be prompt, but I have a lot to cover with you. So once again, grab a pen, grab some paper, settle in. We're going to go through all of this. If you miss anything or you missed last week's webinar, we are placing those on YouTube. We're about 2 to 3 weeks behind because we do dictate throughout those webinars. So without further ado, it's 10 o'clock to respect your time and to be on time. We're going to start rocking through this webinar. So first and foremost, slight disclaimer, if you're tuned into this 22-week webinar, and we're really starting to dive into Medicare, life insurance, health insurance, right? The first 6 weeks, we're really just running your business, how to set up your business effectively. I will tell you that this will launch your career far into where you would never expect it before. So stay tuned, plug in, take notes, stay up on the homework that I'm assigning you on a weekly basis. And I assure you, you will have a much better AEP than the last few years. It has become appallingly obvious that our technology has exceeded our humanity. It is so true. Many of you, almost all of you that are on, including myself, are type A personalities. It's really important to take that time and to not run quite as fast, to slow down and embrace the technology, to build out the platforms, the programs, the Excel spreadsheets, etc., to make sure that you're staying on top of your business. If you need assistance, we're here to help you. If you need a CRM, whatever it may be, we're here to help you. But it's so crucial that you embrace this technology to increase your efficiency. Last week, week 10, we discussed efficiency. Anything you are currently tasked with can be automated in some fashion. Draft emails, commission programs, thank you cards, labeling for mailers, mail pieces, drip emails, auto phone calls, auto voicemails, auto answering, scheduling of appointments, organization of leads, clients, what have you. If you are currently spending time on something, it is feasible that there's a program out there. Reach out if you have any questions that can help automate this for you. Even just the simple automations of having draft emails started, so that way you're not typing up the exact same email with a different carrier name in it every email you're sending out for AEP. Your homework this last week. Enter every one of your clients onto an Excel. Some of you, that's easier than others. Many of you had reached out to help you purge your clients out of lead concepts or target leads. Please, if you have issues or questions, reach out to us. Many of you are just using the SES Carrier Commission Excel that organizes all of your consumers and policy numbers, and that's great, but you really need to add to that the phone number so that way you can reach out to them or know who's calling, or as we set up this recording line for the independent agent route, as we set up this recording line, that will allow for you to put in your Excel spreadsheet for your consumers as well. So you'll have their name and phone number appear as a lead, if you will, every time they phone in. So not having to create this, it all begins on an Excel though. You were to do some homework and review programs that may increase your efficiency. Now is really not the time to be moving from program to program, but if you don't have something implemented, then get something implemented to help you prepare for this onslaught of business that you're expecting through this annual enrollment period. Next week, I believe we're discussing marketing. So as we get into the marketing and you start building your platform for annual enrollment period, it's really important to have all of your consumers housed. Reach out to SES regarding further information on ruling or programs SES has in place. We have a recording program in place for the independent agent base that will be marketed out. We are providing a discounted rate. We will even cover the cost for you if you write some business. So more to come in regards to the agent recordings, as many of you are starting to really understand that May 9th ruling. We had some questions pop up from last week. Is there a percentage of annual revenue I should assign to technology? Yeah, I would suggest that you do. It should be about 8 to 10% of your annual revenue you're putting back into or allotting for your technology. Your computer will not last forever. Your headset will not last forever. You may want to increase your internet speed. You may want to purchase a larger monitor or multiple monitors or a new desk or a new office chair, what have you. So there needs to be a percentage, not a dollar amount, because some of you are making a tremendous amount of money and others are just getting started. But there needs to be some kind of percentage that you're slowly eating away at the cost of the technology. I would suggest 10% as a round number. You make $100,000, you should be setting aside about $10,000. Some of that may be monthly fees that you're paying to a program, right? To have Enrollment 1, 2, 3, or to pay for agency block or Vertifore, or whatever the case may be. Or in regards to hot internet leads, you could put that into there as well. So 10% rule of thumb. Any suggestions for a brand new agent with no revenue and no technology? Yes, reach out to SES. We have the technology for you. If you need, we'd be happy to come up with a business strategy for you to help you offset the cost of your technology. But it is so important to embrace that technology. How do you obtain HIPAA secure storage? Generally, you need to purchase additional HIPAA security. So although you may have security through AWS, Amazon Web Services, it may not be HIPAA secure. If you are not using an off-site server, it's probably not HIPAA secure. If it is, you have cameras and it's in a locked room, and it's that transfer of data that makes it HIPAA secure as well. This is really an off-site conversation. So I'll dig and see exactly who asked this, and I'll go back to that agency or that agent. Great question. But that HIPAA security is another level of security that you should have. And if you're questioning the security on your computer, go back to United Health. United Health has a whole disclaimer on what level of security you should have on your computer with that recording en route. And then the storage is called cold storage of that data. Is it best to have consumer information on the same Excel or multiple Excels? That's really up to you. Try and keep the number of Excels to a minimum. I wouldn't do a health, a life, a final expense, Excel, 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 Excel. But there are tabs on the bottom of the Excel that you can name, right? So you could have a standalone prescription drug plan page of that Excel. The next tab at the bottom could be under 65. The next tab could be annuities, or you could always alphabetize this. But I would try and keep your consumers on one Excel or on one Excel spreadsheet itself, where you have different columns set up. And if you need help, we're here to help you. But you can always sort those columns or set it up to where it comes up as health every time or life every time. So that way you don't have to type it in as you're updating your Excel on a daily or weekly basis. Great questions. Now we're diving in. We are 10 minutes in, so we have a lot to talk about. I'm going to rattle through a lot of this. I have a tremendous amount of slides to get through. Once again, please have a pen and paper. If you have any questions, reach out to us. We're here 24/7 to support you. Why would you want to embrace the carrier technology? I understand it costs you money. It does. It costs you money to purchase an iPad if you're a field agent. It costs you money to have either a desktop or a laptop at home. You need to be able to put, once again, a percentage of your revenue into technology, because now is the time that you begin to embrace this. With carrier online apps, it ensures that every one of your applications is correct and complete every time. You're not missing your NPN number. You're not missing their primary care physician ID. You're not missing dating the scope of appointment. It allows for you not to have to go back and forth either with us as your upline as we scrub all of your applications that are paper and submit them to the carrier. But more importantly, you have a time period. You have 24 hours to correct this application. So now you're driving back to the consumer's home that night going, oh my God, I hope Joyce is still awake. It's 7:15, but I need to get her signature. It helps avoid all of this. It also helps as a whole lower everyone's cost and time as you just begin to complete your enrollments online or on the carrier app. No tracking, missing information. You don't have to store the paper application. You don't have to be concerned about if your fax is HIPAA secure, if the storage on your computer is HIPAA secure. You're not storing anything in your living room or in your attic or wherever you're storing all these paper applications. It provides you so much more security as an agent. It increases the ease and professionalism that you show to your client, as opposed to ripping out an unperforated, we all know, right? The unperforated apps that look like a dog ate it, or spending the money on your own ink to print off carrier applications to attempt to make it look more professional. Just simply pull out your iPad, pull out your stylus, pull out whatever you need, and that consumer will appreciate you not having their information in your car, getting gas, in your home, etc. It provides everyone this extra level of professionalism as you're conducting your business with your consumer. Most carriers have telephonic text signature options, especially due to COVID. I would say they all have them now. Provides client peace of mind during COVID times. Listen, consumer, I'm not needing to come out and visit with you. We can take care of all of this right now online. Do you have a smartphone? Can you text? Where are you capability-wise as a consumer for me to help you get through this enrollment? Ask them up front what they have. Or you want a flip phone with no internet? Okay, that changes things, right? But if you're on an iPhone and you're fairly savvy, I mean, my gosh, we have 72, 74-year-olds signing their Mutual of Omaha apps right on their iPhone. So it's very easy. And the carriers are building these platforms and apps out to really assist your consumers. But due to COVID, we don't know if it's spiking again or the level of concern of this 77-year-old individual that had a double lung transplant or what have you, they may not want to see you. Get that through your mind, right? Not everyone wants to see you. So it allows for you to be able to get these applications completed in a secure, safe environment with your consumer. That's what they're after. Less buyer's remorse. They're not calling you 3 hours later or 6 hours later. Maybe it was a morning appointment. They're not calling you later on that afternoon saying, I've changed my mind. Can you just destroy my application? My other agent called me and we're just going to stay with the same plan. It removes all of that buyer's remorse because the client has received an email or you've provided them a confirmation number or you've provided them their policy number at the time of sale. Mentally, this is closed. I don't need to think about this any longer. I know that my agent has taken care of all of this for me. Embrace your carrier apps, iPad or computer. Many now are on your phone even. The application submission obviously is more secure. With applications and scopes, we all realize you have to hold that securely for a decade. Tell me you're not going to move in the next 10 years, or tell me that you have a secure location that no one's going to accidentally break into your home and find this box or folder or file cabinet full of consumer data and not take it accidentally from you. This is very important on the security side to ensure that these carriers are responsible for this HIPAA security. You're not responsible any longer because you have nothing to store. You did it all on their platform. It increases your client retention. It allows for you to move on to the next app with less admin work. One of these carriers, if you take a paper application, they force you to not only take the paper application, but to enter the information online, to get a code, to add the code to the paper application, to scan into your computer to store, to fax, or email to the carrier. Holy Jesus. Wow. Alleviate that 20 minutes of time and just get it completed right online. Carriers are paying bonuses for online submissions. If you're not aware of that, we need to discuss that as well. So we're going to go alphabetically. I see most of you on are in Michigan. So there's really 9 that we need to discuss, only 9. We're going to skip over or go through this very quickly. You can always take screenshots, right? Take a snippet of this. And we do provide this as a PDF for you as well. It's not as in depth, but it at least provides you the phone numbers, etc. Note, some of these carriers, not all, but there may be a few that change their enrollment platform and announce it as they announce their certifications. AHIP released on Monday. You do have Devoted as well as HCSC, which is Blue Cross Blue Shield of Illinois, are both live now. Molina will be live on Monday. Aetna will be live on Wednesday. If you need a list, certainly reach out to us. We have a list of all the carriers to help you keep organized as well. So back to the 9. We're going to rock through these 9 carriers to discuss how to enroll someone with Aetna. Aetna moved this year from Miramar to Think Agent. They have their own platform. There's a Think Agent app for the Android or iPhone. And you can also just go right to the app.thinkagent.com, or you can download that application onto your desktop or onto your Mac. Their telephonic recorded line is this 844 number. You could call that to complete the scope of appointment. The scope of appointment line is down below. So you would complete the scope of appointment and then phone into the telephonic recorded line to complete that signature telephonically. You can email, text the scope of appointment, or an email the application for e-signature. So why would you want to go to Think Agent? I get it. There's a lot of platforms out there with Connecture and Sunfire and Enrollment 123, etc. It's because by enrolling through the carrier platform, they're providing you that VBE call, HRA call. What is that? Well, briefly, when a new Medicare Advantage plan consumer comes to a plan, a carrier, and they purchase Aetna, Aetna needs to figure out how healthy or unhealthy this consumer is, as they are compensated by CMS a monthly allotment to help cover this consumer's healthcare costs. So if you enroll someone into Aetna and they're HIV positive, cancer ridden, whatever the case may be, Aetna is actually at a loss because it takes a few months to get with CMS to increase that amount. By you completing the VBE, they know that this consumer is incredibly unhealthy. They're able to submit that claim, if you will, or that allotment to CMS to get a higher amount to provide this consumer a better level of care, if you will, or to be more profitable, obviously. So they're going to pay you on a VBE or HRA call. It's the same call. Carriers are just calling it something different, right? But they're willing to pay you an additional $70 to complete this 10-minute health risk assessment or VBE call. Enroll your client through the Think Agent app after you submit the enrollment and before you close the applications when you're going to complete the VBE. If you don't complete the VBE, but the consumer wants to participate, you can always just pass it on to Aetna and they'll pay you $10 at a later date. Obviously, paper applications are always accepted. However, we're once again this year going to avoid paper applications like the plague. Ascension, see WellCare, Centene now, right? They're probably going to change their name. They changed their color. They're no longer orange, they're purple. But with Ascension applications, for those of you with confusion, it is written under WellCare. We'll get there in a second. Your Blue Cross Blue Shield in Michigan, they do provide you a PURL like most carriers do. You can always just take that PURL and email it to the consumer. Hey, Robert, it was really nice chatting with you. I ran your meds through Medicare.gov. Please find attached the PDF from Medicare.gov showing you exactly what your costs are. The least expensive overall costing plan happens to be Blue Cross Blue Shield. Click the link below to enroll. And you can just enroll them that way. With your PURL, it removes all the red tape of the compliance side because you're not assisting with that enrollment. You're just providing them a link to complete that enrollment on their own. The PURLs are priceless when the carriers offer them. If needed, you can always complete a paper application. With Blue Cross Blue Shield, you would go into your DRX portal and then you would upload that paper application. It's incredibly important to hold on to that paper application or to store it somewhere, because you may have to go back to Blue Cross Blue Shield and fight with them to say, I am the agent of record. Sometimes this DRX platform gets convoluted. Once again, utilizing your PURL helps avoid a lot of that. Devoted. Application completed online. The link to scope of appointment. Devoted is not in Michigan, will not be in Michigan in 2023. So Illinois agents, Arizona agents, Florida agents, Devoted, super easy, as you're well aware. Most of you have written applications for those of you that are on at this time. HAP, Health Alliance Plan here in Michigan. Option 1, you phone into HAP. They have a call center in northern Indiana. They're open 8 to 8. You can simply phone that 1-800 number with your consumer on the phone and get the entire application completed, get a confirmation number. Obviously, the call is going to be recorded now on your end as well. So if there's any glitch, you can always go back and figure out who the actual agent was that wrote the application, their writing number, and what happened to your client's application with HAP. But that's a very easy 20-minute call to make. Option 2, you email your agent PURL to the consumer. HAP does provide you that PURL for the consumer to enroll right on their own. Keep in mind, with a PURL, you are not to be on the phone with them. You're not to be screen sharing with them. This is something that the consumer is obligated, if you will, to take care of that enrollment on their own without any agent assistance. They don't want you guiding that consumer. So if you are emailing your PURL, it's incredibly important with some of these carriers to let them know that you are looking at the HMO no premium Medicare Advantage plan, or you're looking at this $7.60 standalone prescription drug plan. Joyce, the premium, focus on the premium, focus on the name, because some of these PURLs are a little funky when they have the Medicare Advantage and the PDP side by side. Ascend. HAP is still using that Ascend app. If you don't have Ascend, get it downloaded. HAP does not offer your own phone number as WellCare does, and we'll get into that in a moment. It is for individuals that have email that can go in and complete this email signature. HAP does provide you a VBE, $50 VBE or HRA call. They may increase or decrease this, but currently for 2022, it's $50. Humana. You simply log into humana.com and you complete the online application. Your affiliation is none because you're an independent agent. Your DSNP verification does have a very simple link in regards to verifying DSNP eligibility. You can always go right to their portal, enter your consumer's Medicare claim number, Part A effective date, and they'll pull up and let you know that verification, so you know if they're QMB+, SlimB, what have you. Send for signature or complete the telephonic signature. So with Humana, you also have your own PURL. At the end of completing that enrollment through the FAST app on the Humana app website, by completing that FAST app, it does allow for you to simply collect that phone's telephonic signature as well. Humana pays a $50 VBE reimbursement to you as an agent. After the enrollment, you would log into your Revel portal. It's not through Humana, it's through Revel. You would log into your Revel portal to complete that VBE call. Keep in mind, Humana applications, as paper applications, all still have that barcode on the bottom. If you are mailing out applications for Humana, either staple them all together or scan the entire application, name it on your desktop, Joyce's application or whatever you want to call it, and then send the application out. I assure you, about 90% of the time, the consumer sends the app back with just the signature page, or they don't send page 5 back, or what have you. And now you have to go back and track this application down, once again, costing you time and money. Or more importantly, you have to get it completed online. So that barcode at the bottom, you can't mix applications with Humana. That barcode has to be consistent throughout the entire application. When completing Humana enrollments, Google Chrome. You have to use Google Chrome, otherwise it will not pick up the primary care physician's number and name. So those of you using Edge or using Mozilla, get on Google Chrome. When you're writing these Medicare Advantage plans through Humana, it will save you a ton of aggravation. So note to self. Molina. Option 1, you make a 3-way call with the consumer. Hey, Joyce, I'm going to get you on the line with Molina. We're going to get your application completed. They're open 8 to 5 Eastern Standard Time. Option 2, Molina will contact your consumer at this number that appears on your consumer's phone. They'll complete the application for you. You do have your DRX, your Connecture link. However, that consumer has to have an email. Molina, generally, obviously a DSNP style plan. Many of these consumers don't know their email address because it's .verizon or .com. It's just built into their phone, right? So many don't have email or have access to that email. Your telephonic scope of appointment, simply phone the 844 number. You can complete the scope of appointment. You can always send them your PURL. You do have a personalized PURL to send over to that consumer. If you can obtain their email address, or if you can send them to your consumer-facing website, they can get that taken care of. Your HRA or VBE is $100 per consumer through Molina. They do offer a fillable PDF, an electronic HRA. You can just simply click the link, and you would send that securely to Molina Broker HRA at molinahealthcare.com. You can always use or utilize the Molina postage paid envelope. If you need envelopes, reach out. We have them here. But that's how you would complete a Molina enrollment or Molina HRA and VBE. Mutual of Omaha. You can always click the link. Once again, we'll provide this to you if requested, or you can go right on YouTube, but you would click that link to get into their enrollment guide. You can always complete an online enrollment and send an email to the consumer. With Mutual of Omaha, it does require an email address. If needed, you can always complete a paper application, and then you would fax it to Mutual of Omaha at the fax number below. Currently here in Michigan, Mutual of Omaha, PDP only. In other states, they do offer a Medicare Advantage plan as well. Not much of a carrier to discuss any further here in Michigan or Illinois, where most of the agents on the webinar are. PHP, Physician's Health Plan. Option 1, you call in the application. Scope of appointment required first. Option 2, you do the electronic application through DRX. Option 3, you supply the consumer your PURL. PHP is incredibly easy to write online. They have a very nice agent platform to utilize. Just make sure, obviously, that you're remaining compliant, that you're obtaining the scope of appointment prior to getting that application completed. Priority Health, Michigan only, digital scope of appointment. You would just simply complete the link down below for the scope of appointment to be sent over to the consumer. Then the consumer would complete a virtual acknowledgement form. If you have not seen this form yet, all it's stating is, I'm giving my agent my permission to complete my enrollment online. So at that time, once you have the scope of appointment, you can text this or email it to your consumer. Text works very well for Priority Health. You would simply text them the link for the digital scope. You would text them a link for the virtual acknowledgement form. You would gather their information if you don't have it already. You would go to Priority Health and you would get this completed. Or you can simply phone in twice. You can call the 844 number for the scope, and then you would call in again for the enrollment acknowledgement. You would place the disclaimer. The beneficiary will be asked their name, address, phone, and date of birth. If you're, please, once again, take screenshots of this. You're going to have consumers that get confused. They say today's date of birth, etc. If you need to help them on that recorded call, I've done it 1,000+ times. It's okay to do. Joyce, they asked for your date of birth, not today's date. Can you just repeat your date of birth, please? And then Joyce would repeat her date of birth and we'd move on with that call. Complete the application on the agent portal or send them over your PURL. Priority Health, very, very, very easy to complete. Super easy because they're providing this whole text capability with your consumer as well. The VBE call will pay $50 and another $50 if your client makes a wellness appointment on that call. So if your client makes some kind of appointment with you to see their primary care physician, so that way Priority Health can once again gauge their wellness and send this off to CMS, it's a $100 VBE. It's $50 for you up front. Hopefully you're able to obtain some kind of wellness appointment with that consumer to go in and have that preventative checkup or that wellness appointment, which then provides another $50. SilverScript Aetna, right? So it's been a hard transition for many of us. It's been SilverScript for many years. Aetna bought SilverScript. With SilverScript, you'd log into your Aetna agent portal. From there, top right side, individual Medicare will bring you into the capability of logging into your SilverScript agent portal. There is a link. Many of you have saved it as a bookmark to get right into SilverScript. Some of you have had struggles with passwords and links, etc. But this is an Aetna product, right? This is Aetna's prescription drug plan. This is a standalone only prescription drug plan. It is the least expensive premium plan in the market, or was for 22. We've offered a lot of it, and this is a pain in the hind end to complete a paper application for your consumer. So I would encourage you to get into the SilverScript agent portal and really understand the differences of how you're able to submit these enrollments. To begin, you can complete a SOA and application by simply logging into your agent portal. You would email the consumer the signature. You have a few choices. You can email the consumer the entire app for them to complete. You could be nice and you could complete most of the app minus the signature and then email it to them for them just to complete the signature itself. You also have a PURL that you can utilize as well. So you would complete the online enrollment. You then send the client application to complete and submit on their own. With paper applications, as I mentioned, it's a terrible setup that requires agent to complete it online, fax, store, be HIPAA secure, etc., all for a standalone PDP. Don't take the risk, if you will, in regards to these paper applications. United Health, AARP. Let's talk about this for just a brief second. AARP is the nonprofit organization. Yes, you do need to have AARP to obtain a United Healthcare MedSup policy. The AARP number is the same as the MedSup number. We're not discussing AARP. We're not discussing politics. We're talking United Healthcare MAPD, AARP prescription drug plan. Don't get them confused. They are kind of one and the same, but one's a nonprofit, one's a for-profit. You'd log into your lien is what it's called. You're going to log into your Jarvis, your United Healthcare agent portal. They utilize DocuSign. You would complete the enrollment. You would email it to your consumer, and the consumer would complete the application on your end. With every application, PDP, MAPD, MedSup through United Health, they all require an access code, and you need to provide that access code to your consumer. So if you're one that's going to get off the phone with the consumer and then complete the app, let the consumer know the access code that you're creating. I always just create the access code of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. It must be 6 digits. But by creating the exact same access code for every consumer, I'm not using their date of birth or their address or what have you, I know that when the consumer struggles, regardless of who the consumer is, that your access code is 123456. Try it again. Complete the app, send to consumer for signature. UHC sends agent an email when they receive the consumer's completed application. I'm going to circle back on how I keep track of my consumers here in a moment, but you will receive an email saying that Joyce, I don't know why it's Joyce today, but Joyce completed her online enrollment. Congratulations. Thank you for conducting business with United Health. You can always do a telephonic three-way conference call with your consumer as well. These carriers are opening their internal call center platforms up for agents. So if by chance you don't have internet access, your cell phone dropped and you don't have a hotspot and you're just panicked as you're walking into an appointment, I'm hoping you have this printed off and in your briefcase or in your trunk somewhere with your applications that you can say, oh my gosh, okay, Robert, no big deal. My cell phone's dead, but if I could use your phone, we'll call this 1-800 number and we'll get this completed on your phone. It's no big deal whose phone obviously you're utilizing. The VBE call through United Health pays you $50. So additional, above and beyond your carrier commissions, there is additional revenue to be made here. WellCare. Once again, this is the same as Ascension, going back a few slides. With WellCare, they also utilize Ascend. So you have two carriers utilizing Ascend. You have HAP and WellCare. Same platform, same login. When you log in and download Ascend, you should see both carriers populate. And if you don't, reach out to us or submit a ticket through Ascend, because once again, you should have both HAP and WellCare on your Ascend portal. With Ascend, with WellCare and Ascend, not HAP, but with WellCare utilizing Ascend, they provide you a rate number is what they call it. It's your personalized 1-800 toll-free number. So when you're completing that enrollment with the consumer and you complete the application in Ascend, you can then call yourself. You would obviously need to know that call's coming through and what your number is. You would call your 1-800 number to collect that voice signature right over the phone utilizing the Ascend rate number that WellCare provides you. It's a very slick platform. And if you have not downloaded your rate number, or you go into Ascend and you do not see that you have a rate number set up thus far with WellCare, reach out to us, reach out to your WellCare rep. Let's get that rate number set up for you prior to this annual enrollment period. Phone first for the scope, then assist in completing the enrollment or send an agent link to the consumer to fill out, right? So you have multiple options. You have your PORL. You also have your carrier portal where you can complete the app and send it that way. The DSNP confirmation, you would call the SPOP number. Special populations is what it stands for those of you that need explanation on acronyms. So it's a special population number. It's 866, numbers right in front of you. Take a screenshot, obviously. WellCare telephonic line, you can receive the scope of appointment ID from the ABL team at 877, right? So their team will actually accept that scope for you on a recorded line, provide you an ID. Then you can call the enrollment assistance team and they'll complete it right over the phone with you as well. So once again, if you are concerned about the technology side, leave that aside. Know that and write these 1-800 numbers down that you can just simply basically say, hey, Joyce, I'm going to call my office and we're going to get this taken care of for you. And you're going to call the 877 number. You're going to get the scope completed. You're going to call the 844 number. They're going to take the app right there and then. It's all compliant. So leaving that HIPAA security, leaving that storage, leaving having to store your application somewhere, and if you move, God forbid, in the next decade, bringing all your apps with you, etc., you can always just phone these 1-800 numbers. Make sure as an agent, you're writing down the confirmation number. You're writing down or knowing that you have all of this recorded somewhere So if you do need to go back and assist that consumer, you need to phone WellCare, you know who you spoke to, the agent writing number that took the application for you or with your consumer, etc. Your VBE for DSNP only, not HMO, DSNP and CSNP. You would complete by, the agent would complete the VBE and DSNP after the application. It's $125. So WellCare does offer the highest VBE amount, but once again, it's on DSNP and CSNP plans only. Zing. For those of you that are not on the Zing platform, it's time to pick up Zing. They have huge carrier expansions coming this year. I can't tell you who and where yet. We will be providing lunch and learns. Zing is really an overlooked carrier right now. And I really am asking for you and your client's sake that you begin to embrace, or at least let's get you contracted and certified with Zing when certifications launch. Zero cost insulin. No other carriers doing that. I mean, they have some every carrier obviously that we've gone through, every carrier that you're able to rep for, if you will, in your state, they all have their own benefits for that particular population. Zing is really your insulin dependent, your diabetic population for your MAPDs only. So for those of you who haven't heard of Zing, it's Medicare Advantage plan only. There's a DSNP and an HMO POS. Limited counties, Illinois, Indiana, and Michigan. However, they are coming on strong in that diabetic population. So just something to consider. Your verification line, your paper application fax number. You can always complete a telephonic signature through Sunfire. You can always complete it online right through the enrollnow.myzinghealth.com. PHP and Zing really have the two most agent-friendly platforms to complete the enrollments right online. Your provider lookup is right through the MyZing Health. Keep in mind with these HMO POS plans, whether or not it's WellCare or Zing or Humana or whomever, that those HMO POS are open access, right? There really is no network. The consumer can go anywhere they choose. However, they need to make sure that the plan is going to be accepted. So when you do go on provider lookups and you're not seeing a specialist in the area, and you're trying to focus in on this HMO POS plan because it's the least expensive overall costing plan on their meds or what have you, that oftentimes you may not see a specialist. You may not see a specialist on Zing's website or on WellCare's or on Humana's or any other HMO POS that you're trying to obtain because it is that open access network. Your broker support is at brokers@myzinghealth.com. Obviously, reach out to SES first. We'd be more than happy to get your questions answered ahead of time, or probably faster than what the carrier can or will do during the annual enrollment period. To review, wow, we made it through. I'm so happy. I was never expecting to make it through in an hour. Week 11, review. We're going to carrier platforms, ensure obviously that your applications are fully completed. It relieves you of HIPAA storage. I know that if you had 100 consumers, names, addresses, social security numbers, date of births, sitting in your living room and you were robbed, or you had a party one night and someone thought it was a joke and took it home with them, you would feel awful. If you have more than 100 consumers breached, you have to send them letters. I'm assuming everyone on this call has probably gotten a letter from Target or Home Depot or someone saying, we apologize, but your credit card information's been compromised, right? We're dealing with very secure data when it comes to protecting our consumers and our clients. So online apps, telephonic apps, no storage needed, no HIPAA security needed. Your calls obviously will remain recorded. More to come in regards to agent recordings over the next few webinars, but it relieves and alleviates you of that HIPAA security. It provides your consumer with additional level of professionalism. It allows for you less buyer's remorse. They've done it, They completed it. They know that they're moving from carrier A to carrier B this upcoming annual enrollment period. And in turn, there's nothing left to think about. When someone else phones them a few hours later, there's no, they've already got it taken care of. There's not this, oh, well, maybe my agent can stop the application and maybe I can get back into my old plan. All of that's gone, right? So remove that buyer's remorse. Your homework over the next week, I need you to pick one carrier once a week over the next 9 weeks. You have 2 months, call it, right? So I know we got 4th of July weekend coming. I believe we're actually off next week because of 4th of July. So we're skipping this upcoming webinar due to the holiday. So really you have 2 weeks to begin this homework. But then after that, after July 1st, you have July, August into September. You really only have 3 months. You have a total of roughly 12 weeks, but you also have another holiday in there, right? You got Labor Day coming up too. So 9 weeks. I need you to pick one carrier a week. I need you to spend an hour or two on this carrier platform. I need for you to take notes on how you're going to best enroll these consumers. I need you to get your rate number set up with WellCare if you have not done so already. I need for you to know what it looks like on the consumer side. So go in, there's sandbox capabilities where you're not going to submit an application, but go into the sandbox, go into the carrier app, put in a fictitious individual with your email so that way you can see exactly what the consumer sees when they receive that email and any issues they may have. I'll tell you one of the largest issues that you'll have is with the Humana enrollment, their date of birth. Their program doesn't accept hyphens or forward slashes, etc., and your consumer will struggle getting through that. So specifically, Humana, your Ascend, your Think Agent, get into these carrier apps. Don't have it be daunting before AEP. One carrier once a week for 9 weeks. You really have 9 carriers that you need to learn, memorize, and understand how you're getting into the platform, where you're going to be efficient when you're on the phone with the consumer. That practice now will provide you that time during annual enrollment period where you're not frustrated. Download any carrier apps on your phone, on your iPad, on your desktop. So we're all going to download Think Agent. We're all going to download Ascend. We're also going to get into these carrier apps and recognize if there are any other applications that I need downloaded and on what devices. If you're a field agent, it might be nice to have it on your phone. Think Agent works very well on your mobile device. If you're a call center agent, we need to make sure that it's on either your laptop or your desktop at home. Know what the enrollment looks like, as I mentioned on the carrier end. Practice each carrier, planning on offering several times. Don't just get in there one time. Get in there and play with it 1, 2, 3 times. Really understand where these buttons are and where you're going to have issues in the application. Some of these apps, you'll type in the Medicare claim number and you'll want to copy it because it asks you for it twice. But when you paste it, it doesn't paste. So know the little caveats of how their developers develop the apps. What's another one? The date of birth. You'll be able to type in the month and you'll tab, and you'll type in the day and you'll tab, or it'll automatically move you over. But once you get to the year, it won't move. So understand some of the little nuances to the application so that way you don't get frustrated or stumble with that consumer if you're screen sharing or you're face-to-face with them. Practice save as a bookmark, link, update, save your passwords often. Your passwords may change. As the AHIP just launched, some of these carriers are asking that you go in and you re-register on their website or on their portal. So if you need to re-register. But going back to, I guess it was week 3 or 4, make sure that you have the actual website, your username, your writing number, if it's not your NPN, your password, all set up and organized. So that way, if you do need to change your password or get into the specific site to for instance, the Rebel site, right? Many agents don't know of that Rebel site for completing Humana. So get into these websites, get them saved, get them bookmarked. More importantly, don't trust your computer to last all of AEP. Get this information in the cloud, get it stored somewhere else. Email it to yourself if it's secure, but make sure that you have a backup copy of this, because otherwise, if your computer does take a dump, you slip on some ice in November walking up the driveway and life happens, right? You're not in a panic situation that you have to start over. So store this in a secure area, email it to yourself, put it in the cloud, Google Drive, Microsoft has OneDrive, do something with this information. So we are a little early. If you have any questions, certainly post it on the chat. Enjoy your weekend. Enjoy your 4th of July, as I believe, once again, we're off next week. We'll be back on the following Friday to continue this 22-week webinar, Roadmap to Success, to help you get organized, to help you get a marketing strategy together, and to help you have an amazing end to your 2022 year. So thank you all for attending Senior Enrollment Solutions. Once again, I'm John Fallett. If you need anything, text us. We're here 24 hours a day. Phone us anytime or shoot us an email. Would love any feedback that you may have on these webinars or any additional questions that we can help you answer on the next webinar or following webinars. Certainly feel free to reach out. Thank you all. Look forward to speaking to you soon.